Alrighty, y'all. How you going? We're looking at some Australian nostalgia. Let's check it out. My mom always yelled at me whenever I made these. What is this called down under? Chip sandwich, huh? Can't say I've actually ever had one of those. I've definitely seen it somewhere, but I've never had one. Of course you should. You need to butter the bread first. Also, nacho cheese Doritos or cheese twisties made the best chip sangas. You know what? We might be onto something here. I think I might need to try some of that out, huh? I'll take some of the Aussie chips and make some of these. That might be yummy. I did that, but with Vegemite as well on there. Called it a smash. That could actually be interesting or really bad. I'm not sure. Look at this plastic stencil Australia map. It's actually kind of interesting, isn't it? How old is this thing? It's kind of cool. Tasmania 150. Oh my God, I didn't even look yet. Tasmania is missing. That must be so frustrating because, right, the shape of Australia is iconic. It's very recognizable. But, Tasmania is part of it, right? I mean, that notch on the bottom, that island, it's there. It needs to be there. It does look a little weird without it. Though I suppose with the stencil, that would have been kind of hard to do, I guess. Oh, someone pointed out in the comments, if we click on this, it doesn't let me zoom in on this one. But it says, note, Tasmania is to be drawn freehand. It says that over in the Western Australia portion of the stencil. So I guess they thought of it. That's pretty good. Now, a lot of these might be way over my head or things that I just don't recognize. So this is a good video for comments because I always learn a lot from you guys. So I'll click on some of these. For example, these brands still exist, this person says. And I don't know what these brands are. I'm assuming one is this logo here. And then one is an orange box that just says orange. So if you want to weigh in on these. Man, my first phone was with Orange, old candy bar SIM, cardless CDMA, Nokia. Then Orange turned to 3. Then 3 turned into Vodafone. Then I made the mistake of blowing my legacy plan by changing to freaking Dodo. These must be all mobile companies or the line of mobile companies that kept evolving in Australia. That's pretty funny. This is interesting. These things from Domino's and Pizza Hut. Now, I remember these. I had seen these on pizzas, but it was basically this with the 3 prongs, but it was like a circle at the top. So it was it looked like a table. It literally looked like a miniature table. And so I used to joke as a kid, like, oh, I got my table here, I didn't actually notice that these disappeared. I'll have to pay attention. I don't really order pizza out much. But if I do, I'll have to pay attention to see if these are gone. The more I think about it, I think they are gone. I don't feel like I've seen one of these in a long, long time. And apparently that's the case in Australia as well. So do you remember these things? I think they were just to hold the pizza together and maybe separate it from the roof or the top of the box when you close it, right? Something along those lines. Why did those go away? I don't know. I really don't know much about these, and I guess they're considered nostalgia now. A lot of these are shows, so this is a really interesting subreddit if you ever want to take a look. Australian nostalgia, it's pretty cool. Of course, like I said, a lot of this stuff I'm not sure about. So like Trial by Kyle. I'm assuming that this is some sort of show or series or something. Like here in the U.S., there's a famous one called Judge Judy, right? Now, there's a lot of those kind of court shows or judge shows where it's like real court, but they film it, on weekdays or whatever. I don't know how it works. Remember doing your own fuses. What is this? Some sort of ancient, fuse box or something? What on earth? So obviously, I don't know what's going on here. This seems very fascinating, though. 230-volt light, 230-volt power, this big off and on switch there. This is really fascinating. Someone tell me approximately how old is this unit? And I'm assuming this is not common anymore. Now, this is kind of funny, but this is nostalgia because this is the same thing in the U.S. as well. This nostalgia is lighting up a smoke in the pub or bar. And yeah, I mean, long time ago, that was commonplace. And now, of course, that is just not common. Or not common is the wrong word. It just non-existent. That's what I meant. Because you can't, right? I don't know what the rules are in Australia, but in the U.S. and any of these, public spaces, restaurant, store, whatever, right? You obviously cannot smoke in them, and you can't even light up a smoke within like 15 feet of the entrance or something like that, 20 feet, something like that. So, yeah, that day came and went long ago. Look at these, the forgotten decimal coinage. Take a look at these. We can zoom in. It's a little blurry, but you can kind of see some of these. Now, of course, I'm not a coin expert, and I'm definitely not an Aussie coin expert. I've gotten some from you guys, which is awesome, but I'm no expert on them. So maybe you might recognize some of these. Maybe some really cool pieces in here. Looks like some varying condition, varying sizes, value, and I'm sure years. Who remembers All-Star? This looks kind of cool. My auntie had an All-Star box. I was always so excited to sleep over at her place because she let me stay awake to watch Nickelodeon. My cousins who grew up on the coast always called it Foxtel. I used to know the channel numbers by heart. Well, this is definitely old school. I'm going to guess this is maybe 90s. Whoa, look at this old, oh God, my brain is failing me right now. What do you call this? I know there's a name for this that shows this, like the different channels and the schedule for the shows and stuff. The name is escaping me right now, but it's been a long time since I saw one of those. And that name, of course, would be the TV Guide. All-Star, you'll love what's on. 132342allstar.com.au. Really? I wonder if this was like a... Ooh, there was a couple different things in the 90s before, everyone had a million channels like nowadays, which, by the way, on the flip side, most people don't watch regular TV anymore, including myself, most people I know. But until a few years ago, most people had hundreds of channels, right? With either like satellite TV, like in the US we have Dish Network and DirecTV are the two major suppliers for satellite TV. And then of course you had different cable companies that offer cable with tons of channels as well as TiVo was before just generic DVR. DVR, of course, meaning you can pause live TV, rewind it, fast forward, record it, that type of thing. In the 90s, there was such a thing as a TiVo box, which had, maybe is what this is, similar. Or this was another brand I can't think of in the 90s where it was kind of cool. You had a lot of channels, and you could access the internet, like a browser, through it on your TV, which for 1997 or something was pretty ahead of its time. That was unheard of. What? We have the internet on the TV? So yeah, maybe it's something like that. I don't know. You guys can weigh in. It kind of looks cool though. Remember it, and I remember the special card you could get if you paid the installation guy a little extra. What? What's that? Called them gold cards. Also, you also changed where the satellite dish was pointing on the system. Channel 31 Fish Cam. Was this a thing? On old TV? That's kind of cool and random, right? This came on when Rage wasn't on. Two core memories. One, seeing a dead fish floating. Oh my God, for real? Me and my friends placing prop bets on when this shit would break off from the fish's arse. That is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Watching a fish cam and placing bets on it. That sounds actually really fun. Man, I loved Briz 31. It was a whole different universe, eh? I should say, I know this is a different channel than Rage, but this just was my default post 2 a.m. channel if Rage wasn't on. You guys will have to tell me if you remember this Channel 31 or Rage. And I don't know, was this, again, 80s, 90s? I'm assuming maybe 90s or maybe early 2000s for this. That's pretty funny. Now, this is fascinating to me. This is when below-the-knee board shorts were king. Right? Look at this. This is Australia, but this looks like the U.S. to me because I feel like, at least from what I've observed, this is still the style in the U.S., right? Any type of board shorts, swimwear, swimming trunks, they're going to be about to your knee or maybe even below, but I'd say about to your knee in the U.S. You don't see a lot of, less coverage than that. Now, I realize other countries that tends to be more common, so that's pretty interesting. Now, if this isn't old school, I don't know what it is. This type of thing, of course, existed in the U.S. as well and is just non-existent now. Publishing your address and phone number in a magazine to find local people to trade Pokemon with you. What a simpler time, right? I mean, yeah, people were kind of like very transparent in like the 80s and 90s, posting your address, phone number for the public to see. And I feel like that is just non-existent nowadays. Look at this. Looks like a kid's maybe type of board game or something, or some sort of toy called the Battle Dome. Never heard of it in my life. Don't know if we had it in the U.S. or not. Probably not. Looks fun. A game of rapid fire action and lightning quick reflexes. Anyone remember this? Kind of cool. Okay, now this one blows my mind. Sometimes you see things and you're like, wait, like somewhere in my brain I know about this, but I haven't thought about that in 25 years or something, right? This is one of those things. I'm 97% sure we had these in the U.S. as well. I don't even know what you would call it. It says, who had one of these? And I believe this is like some sort of, I don't even know what you call this thing, like a, kind of like a floor mat, like you would put it before a door somewhere on the outside. And I think it was for maybe like brushing off your shoes or something. And it was rubber, right? It was kind of like, it reminded me of like car tire tread or something, like rubber. And then it had these colored, these things, whatever these things are, right? That hold it together. Wow. I feel like I recognize this. I feel like I've definitely stepped on one of these before. But if I have, then it has been literally 20-something years. Right? It's been forever since I saw one of these. And the top comment says you can still buy them. And it links us to Bunnings. So here we are in the Bunnings site. I did not expect this. It's still loading. Page not found. No way. Oh, do they not have it anymore? What the heck? These things took nothing off your shoes whatsoever, but everyone had them back in the day. Yeah, I feel like they weren't very effective. Unless I'm like totally dreaming here, I'm pretty sure I've seen these in the U.S. And they, like I said, this would have been in the 90s, way long ago. And I remember a few different houses having them, I thought. This comment really I resonate with, though. I just had the most visceral reaction to seeing this post. Like, I can't believe such a mundane object awoke core memories in me. That's what I'm saying. Like, seeing things that are like nothing, just random stuff. Like something literally on the floor that you like step on and rub your shoes on. Like it's just some clunky rubber device on the floor that really doesn't do anything well. But yet here we all are like, oh my God, I remember that. That's been so long, right? It puts into perspective how freaky fast time goes and how the 90s, on one hand, to me, felt like yesterday. And on the other hand, is like, whoa, that is a long time ago. And on our way out of this video, I'm just scrolling through some other Reddits. We have Reddit Sydney here. How many demerit points for this? We have a Toyota Ute with something interesting going on here. We have the yellow plate. Oh, it's dangling, and we have another plate below. So someone, what kind of plate we working with here? Someone slapping plates on top of other plates. Uh-oh, what's going on there, huh? And then finally, an interesting one from the Geography Reddit. Why isn't the area between Melbourne and Geelong not more built up? So you can see the massive, I think, pretty massive metro area for Melbourne, right? You know, wrapping all the way over here, and then, of course, to about this Werribee area, and then it just kind of ends. And then you have Geelong, which is, you know, more normal size or quite smaller. And it goes over here and it's just kind of done, right? So look at this big gap of, you know, at least according to this map, seemingly nothing. Now, you would almost think this would be more built up and it would just be one kind of mega metro around the water here, around Port Phillip, right? Well, for whatever reason, it's just kind of empty there. Koalas with chlamydia. Melbourne resident who grew up in Geelong here. It's catching up due to Melbourne's urban sprawl and the Geelong area experiencing some long overdue growth as it became relatively cheaper to live than Melbourne. Within a generation at this rate, Geelong will be swallowed up just like Werribee and Pakenham on the other side of Melbourne, which were just nearby towns. That being said, a significant chunk of the land south of Geelong-Melbourne Road won't ever be built up due to a sewage treatment plant, Point Wilson explosives facility, and even Avalon Airport, which has grown substantially in recent years. There was some speculation recently that Disneyland could build a site at Avalon, as it's largely vacant and close to the city. Ooh, that's rather fascinating. It's a shame in a way because that stretch of coastline is quite lovely and even potentially very valuable. There are little coastal hamlets like Avalon Beach on that stretch, although it is a strange and eerie place, but that's another story. Oh, why is it strange and eerie on Avalon Beach? Anyway, hope you enjoyed this one. That's going to do it for some nostalgia, right? I like these posts about Australia. You know, we've done old school cool episodes. I have those linked at the end if you missed those. This is kind of similar, but a little different than nostalgia episodes for Australia. I think it was really fun. And that's about it for this one. My name is Ian. You're watching IWrocker. Until next time, y'all. Catch you later.